Welcome to episode 3 of the Veteran to Veteran podcast. My name's Cole, and today's guest we have on my stepdad, Brad Carpenter. He was let me read this so I don't get this wrong here, a U.S. Navy aviation machinist mate. He was a jet engine mechanic. He was an airman, and I'm going to touch on that real quick because this is something that I needed more clarification on. I thought that the Navy had seamen and the Air Force had airmen, but I had to look this up and really read it so I understood it. Navy seamen can actually go to like an aircraft tech school or something like that and earn the rating of an airman. So he actually was an airman in the Navy because he worked on aircraft. That's what he did. A little bit about Brad. He came into my life. He and my mom started dating when I was like 7 or something like that. And he basically has been like a second father to me, and I know that's kind of weird. He never like meant to be that because he was always very respectful of my dad and the fact that he was my biological father, and so he never tried to take over that role. And I think that means more to me now than it did to me then because I appreciate it more. But we haven't ever really talked much about the military because he's not like the military guy. He's always been a stern, but at the same time laid back in some weird way kind of guy that just was always into tinkering with mechanical stuff. Since I was a child and my mom had custody of me, at least like majority custody of me throughout most of my childhood, Brad was really like the father figure that was there most often. And I think because of that, because I've known him for almost 20 years now, and I think he did a great job as a second dad, and that's why I see him as such. And I really appreciate him and what he has been able to do as far as providing for my mom and for my sister and I. And he's just an all-around great person to look up to. He definitely cusses like a sailor. So for those who are a little more sensitive on the about the language, listener discretion is advised. But this is just a really fun podcast. We had no technical issues like whatsoever. I'm happy to announce this is the first podcast I haven't had any issues whatsoever with the recording, with the audio. It all came out great. I also didn't stick to a script as much as I have in the first 2 episodes, and I felt like it just flowed a lot more naturally, and I wasn't so distracted by staying on point with a script or any kind of bullet points or anything. And so I feel like this is the best one yet, and I'm hoping that every podcast gets a little better than the last one. But I'm really excited about this one, and it was a lot of fun to get to spend time with him and my mom and my girlfriend and I, Meredith. We all ordered pizza and just hung out, and then we did this podcast, and it was just a really good time. So if you like this podcast and what our mission is here and what I'm trying to get done, please like, subscribe, share. Please share. Just getting this podcast around and getting as many people to see it and listen to it as possible is really my biggest goal right now. But if you want to support it, leave a comment, subscribe. That would be awesome too. That would help out a ton. But yeah, the biggest thing I could ask for someone to do in order to help support the channel right now is really just share and subscribe. And I appreciate everyone that does that. But yeah, so without further ado, now that my whole tangent about Brad and who he is and how much he means to me is out of the way, I'll let the podcast speak for itself, and I hope you guys enjoy. Thanks. So why don't you tell us about where you grew up, how you grew up, family life growing up, and what kind of led you into the military, and if you had any family members that were in the military. I actually don't even know this. Like, I don't know much about your family as far as what they did or any kind of military involvement if they had any. So,
okay,
yeah.
Well, for everybody that don't know, I'm Brad Carpenter. Grew up in Anderson, Indiana, 1972. So I'm feeling old. Had a normal childhood. Rode our bikes wherever we wanted to. Did whatever we wanted to. Came from a good home. Mom was there with us every day. Dad was pretty strict. Had a paddle. So we learned right from wrong early.
Yeah, I've heard some stories about you getting pulled by your hair around the house.
Yeah, my mullet. Back in the 80s. Yeah. It was so bad I put a perm in it. It was nice. Got out of high school and it was unfortunate at the time. I thought was gonna have twins. That was a scary moment in my life. And a buddy and I went to Indy and went to a recruiter. I didn't want to go in. He did. Took the ASVAB test, found out what we, could qualify for. And, jet engine mechanic was available. And I'd been tinkering with, bicycles my whole life, cars, working on suspension and motors. And it was just kind of my thing. So I ended up signing up, and I think I left 3 months later, and he never went in. So, yeah.
That's pretty funny how that works out.
Yeah, well, and it probably happens a lot. But, I had a great childhood.
But the intent was to provide for the family that you were about to have.
Yeah, I was working at a gas station, from
Anderson,
4 in the morning till 8 in the morning, making it $7.50 an hour.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, Anderson, Indiana is not exactly the place of aspiring dreams and high goals.
Really. But we were brought up right. Knew right from wrong, and I think I taught you a lot of those lessons, growing up.
Well, your biggest lesson to me that always stood out, which is real simple for my ADD brain to follow, and I've said this before, is it was just because we'd get, well, not me necessarily, but some of us in the household would get spanked on a pretty regular basis.
That would be Amanda. We could say it.
Yeah. And with my ADD brain, before we knew that it was an ADD brain, it was pretty simple, which was, before you do it, think about if it's going to piss me off, me being you. Mm-hmm. And if the answer is yes, it's going to piss me off, then don't do it. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Right. That's pretty easy.
Simple and easy. And if it was that way nowadays, there wouldn't be as much shit in the world.
Yeah. Amanda didn't get the gist, though.
No, she did. She pushed it to the limit a lot. But she also made me a better dad in the long run, I think. Don't tell her I said that.
Yeah. We won't have her listen to this episode.
Right.
But there are no, military influences in the family or anything?
No, my grandfather wasn't. My dad was, he got drafted for Vietnam, but he had flat feet and asthma, and they wouldn't take him. So I was the first carpenter to join the service.
And then it kind of happened on accident.
But that's kind of how I was growing up. I was real strong-willed. If I thought I was right, I'll fight you tooth and nail to the end. So when I got in trouble and I thought I was right and I shouldn't be in trouble, I usually got more than one paddle because I kept fighting to show that I was right.
From all the stories that I've heard about your childhood, I wouldn't peg you as a military guy that would respond well to authority figures.
I was a short, arrogant, I'm not going to take your shit, I don't care how big you are, I'm going to stand up for myself. And it was just, it changed my life completely in 2 months. 2 months at boot camp. Changed my life completely.
So what, was it aircraft mechanic?
Yeah, jet engine mechanic.
Talks through Navy basic training or boot camp back in the 80s.
Well, I do remember Desert Storm, Desert Shield.
What year did you go in, did you say?
I joined January of 92. And Desert Storm, Desert Shield was going on, I think, January of 91. And I remember, being a 18-year-old kid in high school, watching it on TV going, that is badass, And so once I did get in the jet engine part of it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be around aircraft. I'm going to be, wow, what kind of boat am I going to be on? Then they tell me, what I'm going to be on, and it was just amazing. But seeing it on TV, really, I remember watching it every day, every second, just like nowadays on TV with all the shit's going on. You can't take your eyes off of it, it seems like. So it was like I didn't want to go in, but once I did do it, reality started hitting. I was like, I think I'm going to like this, So, January 2nd of 92, I left for Great Lakes, Michigan, which is where most of the men boot camps were. So, of course, January in Chicago with a breeze coming off of Lake Michigan. It was not fun. I remember mom and dad taking me to the airport, and they were like, don't bring, we didn't have phones back then. You don't need your wallet. You don't need keys. You don't need any, you can't, no cigarettes, no chewing tobacco.
If you need it, they'll issue it to you.
Right. So, here, Dad, thanks. I'll see you later. I hope I come home, 18, dumb, young, And I remember sitting on the airplane looking out the window and seeing Mom and just trying not to cry. I mean, just like holding it back. Like, what the fuck did I just get myself into? I'd never been away from home. I couldn't spend the night with my friends because I didn't want to sleep away from the house. So it was really bad for Mom. And I'm sure it was bad for Dad too, but Mom really took it hard. So I get to Chicago O'Hare, and of course, hurry up and wait. I'm there at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and the USO says they're going to be here like 10 p.m. tonight to pick you up in a bus and take you to the base.
Yeah, it's like a 4-hour drive.
Yeah, so now I'm fucking walking around the airport going, I need a fucking cigarette. I'm just gonna buy. So I bought a pack of cigarettes, waiting on this bus to come get me. And then they took me to the base, and I was the only one in the barracks. So everybody's been in the barracks, right? It's just bunk after bunk after bunk and windows, and I literally went to the farthest bunk and slept on the top. I had a little mattress, it was all rolled up, so I flopped it out, and a wool fucking cover and a pillow with no pillowcase, and I just slept in my clothes by myself in that whole fucking place. And then, of course, you're laying there going, what did I get myself into again? What the hell's going on? Yeah.
I remember, I think it was after I got out of basic training that you said something about, like, I don't know if it was crying or what it was, but I remember my first day in 30th AG, and I feel like I reflected on that because I kind of sobbed myself to sleep. Like, oh my, I've already gotten yelled at so much.
Right.
Like the first
I didn't do that. I got yelled at already.
Just because I think.
What do you mean I stepped on my right foot first? What's the difference?
Yeah, this is such a culture shock being away. But for you, that'd be like traumatizing that you're in this totally new place by
by myself.
Empty,
yeah,
totally empty. You don't even have anybody to share your thoughts
right. I don't even know what city I'm in. I just know I'm in Chicago area. And, so the first night, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I know that I woke up the next morning, and then the more, people came with the bus, and then, they broke us up and sent us through all the regular shit, shots and haircut and all that. And, it was like a day later, they gave us, we had to stand in line, and I got pictures. I probably could have dug out a bunch of stuff, but got pictures of standing in line and, some stupid, ugly-looking tan swim shorts, with no underwear on, no socks on, no shirt on, just a little swimsuit, walking through, and they're going, what size? And I go, what? What size underwear? Small. Fuck, I don't know. I'm 18 years old. I never bought my underwear before. I don't know. You know, I only weighed 110 pounds. You know, I don't know. You tell me. And then shirt, then pants, and we're not talking one. You know, you're talking 3 or 4, and then PT gear and shoes and boots and here's your sea bag. Throw it all in there. And the sea bag weighed more than I did. You know, and I remember the walk with that sea bag and those new boots. You know, boot camp boots, just hard rock leather, just shit shoes, and taking off all the way across this base to get to where the barracks are. And then, I think everybody knows you always got that one dumbass that wrote their name on the wrong side of their shirt. So then they have 2 names on their shirts, And luckily, I wasn't one of them. But, but then we had to sit down and label our underwear and shirts and, everything with a stencil and a little ink pen. And, I mean, just basic training stuff. But you didn't realize at the time, but it was trying to teach you attention to detail, and following orders. And, that's not what you're taking it as. It's like, this is fucking stupid. Why do I got to write my name on my underwear? I know it's mine, But, so I remember doing that.
It's funny, though, in that first, 24-hour period, you get a real good, well-rounded picture of the machine that is the military, and that it can be the slowest moving machine and then the fastest moving machine when it wants to be fast.
Yeah.
With I think everybody goes through that with your shots, just walking down the line, getting shots of both arms.
Pop,
And then, all right, here's all your shit, just dumping it on. Yeah.
Now hurry up! I got to go over here and get ready for this. And you go over and sit over there. And, you're sitting on the ground with your back against the buddy behind you to have something to rest on. And you're there. You don't know why you're sitting there. You're like, what's taking so long? And I think they just do it to push your buttons. I swear to God. But. So then we spent most of our time in PT gear, walking back and forth and running and push-ups. And
was that through all of boot camp or just
pretty much
in processing?
Just pretty much boot camp. We did everything in PT gear.
What I've heard a lot about Navy boot camp is that you learn how to. It's like a lot of drill and ceremony, and folding stuff.
We did a lot of folding and believe it or not, they didn't teach me how to tie a knot. They taught me how to tie one knot, and that was for my laundry bag on the end of our rack. That was it. And I can still tie that knot today. That's the only knot they taught me. Right. But, we folded a lot because, you guys have barracks when you're out and about, on your forward operating bases or wherever. But our bunks are, our storage lockers are underneath our beds on ship. So you lift your bed up, and that's all the room you got. So they teach you how to fold it all so that they know it fits in the lockers. We don't know that at the time, but I still fold my underwear. My wife laughs at me, but I still fold my underwear. But boot camp I was real physically active. I was, I don't know, 5'6" and 110 pounds, and I could do push-ups for days, and I could jumping jacks for days, but I couldn't run a lick. So. But by the end, I ran just like I was supposed to, no problems, So boot camp for me was fun and like a bigger gym class, more or less,
So that's fair.
Yeah. And then our graduation week, man, we had the worst company, man. We didn't get no special flags for doing shit right, We were terrible.
Had people like you in it.
Yeah, right? I gave it my all, but, I was always the shortest person, so I always had to be in the back of the marching line. I don't know how it was in the Army. When you were marching from, place to place, you lined up by height. Yeah, I was always in the back. So I was always one of the 2 or 3 guys that had to wear the vest to go stop the cars. Yeah, fuck, that's terrible.
You got to run all the way up in front of everybody.
Run past everybody and sit there and, come to position and stop the car. And then when everybody goes by, you got to catch up and walk for a little bit. And, then they yell out. You're hauling up, I hated it. It's fucking terrible. I wasn't a runner.
So boot camp, not terribly hard. So then...
we did firefighting school.
For the
on board ship.
Stuff.
Yeah, we did it on board ship, and we did it in a house, more or less. So, they taught us how to don OBAs and feel your way around in the dark, that kind of stuff. The swimming lessons were pretty cool, and I still talk about it here and there. You know, if I need to make a life vest, if I fall in, I can take my pants off and make a life jacket just in a matter of seconds. I can still do it. It's simple and easy. You never think about it, but it's really easy to do. So they taught us just in case the boat crashed or we fell off or something. I don't know, but it still sticks with me today. A lot of marching, which is basic, everything. But we did the gas treatment. That was fun. Yeah, that was not fun at all. I mean, you've done it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and your snot's running out your face as fast as your eyes are watering.
Yeah,
you're gagging.
Total control over all the fluids in your face.
Can't speak.
Yeah.
And of course, just happened to line up. I was like the first row in, so we're actually in like a container, semi-container, or a train container.
Yeah.
And I'm like the first row, all up against the back wall, and then everybody else just piles in. So I'm like 8, 9 rows, and I'm processing this in my brain as I'm standing there with this mask on, breathing. Fuck, what are we gonna do? And then they tell us what we're gonna do, and I'm like, holy fucking shit, I'm the last one out of here, Well, I can't do this that whole time, So, yeah, I just took a deep breath and held on for as long as I could, the eyes closed, and that first breath, it's over, It's over.
Yeah, for us, like, I was on one side of the wall, and then there's like another squad was on the other side of the wall, and then they went to that side of the wall first, and for us, we all had our masks on, and then we had to take our masks off, and they would come to each individual person and make you say like your full name and your rank and your like social security number to make you breathe.
Yeah. Oh, before, yeah, okay. They made us stay there, and then to get out, you had to tell them that at the door, or they wouldn't let you out.
Yeah, they went down the line, and then we had to keep our masks off while everybody else was going through and having their turn. And then we just stayed there, and then they would have us put our mask back on.
Oh, really?
To make sure we could get the seal properly. Yeah. And then, and I'm pretty sure we had to take them back off just for funsies, and then walk out after that. But it was funny for me because we still have our masks on my side of the wall, so we don't know how bad it is. And I could feel a little bit leaking in, and could tell that it's like the sour kind of taste or whatever. And then I see this one guy, I still remember his name, Golic or something. He was Polish. He was a Polish immigrant. And he takes his mask off, and he starts convulsing. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, what is this that we're about to get into right now?
It's so funny.
But I really was pretty unfazed by it. But it was just funny that they made you take your mask off and then say something so you had to breathe. And I just remember I was kind of like eyes closed and just like trying to take little sips of air almost. And then and then we had to run out and like flap our arms like a bird and stuff. But I don't think that, but it wore off in like 5 minings. So
yeah, it wasn't bad. I believe it or not, I was able to breathe the rest of the night. It cleaned you right out. It was great.
You have no fluids left in you. So that's boot camp. So then Navy, you go to A school.
Yep.
Right, to learn your trade.
Yep. I went to Millington, Tennessee. When I got out, graduation boot camp, I was home for 2 weeks. And then I had to report to Millington, Tennessee, which is about 20 minutes north of Memphis. And went to A school thinking it's going to be just like boot camp, lived in a barracks. But you could have personal items in, you had your room, but we had 3 or 4 people with us in our rooms. And then we just marched to school, did our school stuff, and learned about airplanes and jet engines and how it worked and everything. And then
that was probably pretty fun.
It was a lot of fun. You had a lot more freedom than what I was expecting.
Way less strict and stuff.
But I was there March, April, so I remember, walking out of our barracks, past the guards and over to our little common room, which was another room. And I remember watching IU and Duke play basketball in the tournament. And, it's just those little things of home stick with you all these years of, where was I when that happened? Oh, yeah, I was right here doing this, and I have a lot of stories like that. It's just weird how my brain remembers little things.
I think, like, dates stick out for me.
Yeah, me too.
I can't remember dates of shit.
I can tell you when I was there, when I was in Millington. Yeah. But, yeah,
Can't remember anything.
Yeah, I
else
didn't have
but
my
military.
car there yet. Though. I didn't take my car because I wasn't sure if we could have a car. But I ended up being friends with a guy with an RX-7, which was a Supra, which was just incredible back in the early '90s. And we went to bars, titty joints. I remember walking home from there on the side of the road in snow. I don't know how I got back to the barracks. I remember walking in the snow, but here I am, 105 pounds, 5'6" tall, and I'm drinking wild turkey, which I've never seen or heard of before. I don't
think you're 21 at this time.
No, I'm 19. I'll be 19 in August. So just okay, whatever. I'll do whatever you guys want. So I remember getting back. I don't remember how I got back, but I remember walking in the side of the road in the snow. Then you start to get more freedoms, and you start meeting other people. And I went and did the Graceland thing since I was so close. The Elvis Presley home, and so you really got the feel for different parts of the country finally. Instead of being stuck in a barracks with 40 people and
getting a little bit of travel and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just had like the epitome of a traveling experience too. So you get assigned to the aircraft carrier. Was it USS Kitty Hawk? Was it?
First, I got assigned to Squadron VAQ 134. So a V is a fixed airplane, fixed air wing. Attack. Can't remember what the Q's for. I can't remember what it's for. And then 134 is just our insignia number. So we were the Garudas, and Garuda is some mythical bird of something, I don't know. Like I said, I didn't care. Right? But that was I had to report June 20th to Whidbey Island, Washington, which is 2 hours north of Seattle. On a little.
You're gonna go on the total opposite side of the country.
Yeah, so I went from Tennessee back to Indiana for 2 weeks, which my dad and stepmom got married the day before I was leaving to go there, so I could be a part of it, which I think probably a lot of families have done, hold special occasions before their sons or daughters go off to, deployment or. So their anniversary, I probably know better than my dad, because it was that another defining moment in my life, of a change. So I tease him all the time, hey, your anniversary's coming up or something, right? When is it again? I'm like, man. So I tease him all the time. So now I get to, Oak Harbor, Washington is a city, but it's on an island, and there's airplanes flying around. I'm thinking, man, this is what I signed up for. Now I'm on base. There's an airplane flying around. And, just you start your everyday job. And my everyday job was totally different from your everyday job. I didn't go train, ruck, stays out in the woods. Mine was 7 o'clock, report to the hangar bay. Oh, we got some preventative maintenance to do on an airplane. Work for till 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. And then if you didn't have duty or watch, you whatever. So my first day, they were like, okay, see you later. I'm like, where am I supposed to go? They're like, wherever you want, man. You don't have to be here.
We don't care.
Right. So then I'm going, well, hell, I don't know what to do with myself. You've been telling me what to do for the last 4 months. So I went back to the barracks.
Everyday job.
Yeah. But the base was nice. The town's real small. They had a drive-in movie theater. Now, there ain't many around now, but early 90s, they were still around. So I got the feel for everything, and then we got our deployment cruise information once I got to the squadron and was gonna get put on board the USS Kitty Hawk, which is an older gas diesel engine carrier. Nowadays they're all nuclear, so it wasn't the nicest boat. I think it was 1962. It was in Vietnam. So, I mean, it was pretty old. But every ship looks the same, It's gray and nuts and bolts everywhere, So I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how big they were or what it was or what my job was going to be on board ship. And so our training missions were more or less for us to get qualified, but more for the pilots to get qualified. So we would leave Seattle, our base in Washington, and hop on a DC-9 airplane with our sea bag full of, whatever shit we thought we needed, fly to San Diego, California, and land on the base there. I think it's North Island. I think it's North Island. I'm trying to think here. Hang on. I'll think of the name of the bridge in a minute. And so there sits this aircraft carrier, and it's the biggest thing I've ever seen. The biggest thing I've ever seen. And I'm just looking at it going, wow, they land airplanes on that thing, cool. This is gonna be all right. This is gonna be a lot of fun. And then, everybody else starts showing up. The next day we take off. We go out for 2 weeks, and you have to get qualified on board the flight deck. Where to stand, where not to stand. Make sure you got your PPE, and and so you're out there really by yourselves. The planes aren't there yet. So we go out for 2 days, and then okay, the planes are coming. You're qualified to be up there when an airplane's getting ready to land 5 feet from you. But you can't go across that line. You go across that line, you're going to get hit by it. Yeah, well, fuck, I just go right up to it. I want to get as close as I can get, And here come all the airplanes, an F-14, F-18s, an E-2 Hawkeye, which is it's got a big radar dome. Mm-hmm. It's like an airport, radar, and a couple helicopters, HS-63s, an S-3 submarine hunting airplane. And then my EA-6B airplane, which was an electronic warfare jamming airplane. It's like a modified A6 Prowler. Yeah, Prowler. And ours was called a Growler because it's kind of like it's a 4-seater instead of a 2-seater. And the A6 flew, thousands of Vietnam sorties, and the A6 Intruder, there's actually a movie, same plane. Really old, slow, wasn't the cool F-14 Tomcat, like, Tom Cruise got to fly and all that. Yeah, no, it was ugly. Had this big refueling nozzle that sticks out the top that we called this, giant donkey dick sticking out the front of it. Kind of looks like this microphone. You knew that was coming. And, so it was just old. It wasn't, you weren't the coolest person on the ship, because they knew with the insignia on your helmet or your shirt what plane you belonged to,
So in the world of like mechanics, if you worked on the like fighter jets, like you were a cooler mechanic.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it was just a better airplane. Yeah. And you got more.
It's funny that
you got better duties.
Yeah. It's funny the subcultures that exist in each little job.
Yeah, I guess. And probably it's the same way with you, right? I mean, you got Well,
we had like our standard line infantry dudes, and then we had the scouts.
Yeah.
We had like the mortar guys were a separate section too, but they all did their own thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
I didn't know that they had
and we were mechanics anyway, so we were at the bottom of the pile anyway.
Those mechanics are badass.
You had AOs, which is an ordnanceman, so they got to load the bombs and missiles. Then you had AEs, which were the electronic people. That's why the airplane was there, was for the electronic jamming. So they were, the best people in our plane. Yeah, okay. So we were at the bottom. We were fucking just grease monkeys, just like any mechanic.
The peasants.
Yeah, yeah, and. It's not that they treated you that way, but you just knew where you fit. But no, it was quite an experience. The first day of watching airplanes come in and being on board ship to see how they do it and how close you could be. And if you've never been burnt alive, which you probably haven't, if you stand behind an F-14 that's getting ready to take off, the heat from his exhaust. It feels like your skin's burning up. And I didn't know what to expect. The guy training me did. I mean, hey, let's walk over here. Okay. I'm just following behind him. And then, you hear this jet engine start going into afterburner. And that's the plane sitting there on the catapult, and they raise up this little jet blast deflector. It hits it, and it shoots the air up and over. So it won't blow everybody off the boat, okay? Well, we're behind it. And I'm thinking, that fucking airplane's getting ready to take off right there. And you can hear it, It's just a high-pitched squeal of, rotors, and he starts throwing in an afterburner, and you can hear it just like more flame, more flame, more flame. All of a sudden, I'm just like, I'm curled up in a ball, like, I'm on fire, the heat. I'll never forget it, I'll never forget it. So when I trained people, I did the same thing to them. Hey, welcome here. This is what we do, So just a lot of things like that.
So how long was because that's a deployment for you guys going on?
We did a lot of training.
So how long was it?
2-week training. We'd fly back to Seattle for 2 weeks. We'd go back to the ship, go out for 2 weeks, and we did that for 3 months. So the pilots could get trained. We stay, trained. So there were times where we'd get back from Seattle or back to Seattle. I wouldn't even unpack my dirty sea bag. It just right there by the door. I'm leaving in 2 weeks. I ain't gonna mess with it. And then take that same dirty shit right back to the boat with me, and then throw in the laundry down there.
But like when you guys actually went like across oceans,
it was a 6-month deployment.
Okay.
I was on. It was called a West Pack. So we left the west side of the United States and went west. They got stuff called Rim Pack, which is going around South America, coming from like Norfolk. I just missed that, which would have been great. They were coming around when I was in boot camp. The carrier was coming around. In fact, they went through the Panama Canal, or they went all the way around the tip of South America, over to San Diego. So I missed that. But I ended up doing 2 Westpac cruises. So for 6 months at a time, you're on board ship, and you just go west. And on the way out, every time you wake up, the time has changed. Because you're going through a new time zone every day.
That'd be weird. It's like constant.
Yeah, some days, it's like on the way out, 2 o'clock here, 1 o'clock there. You lost an hour on the way out, So we worked 12-hour shifts, 7 to 7, and then, 7 to 7. Well, once you got trained, I got put on night shift, which was, way better. All the higher ups, the lieutenants, and, all the commanders and all them, they're sleeping, so a little more freedom. But I've always been a night person anyway, so nights were great for me. And if you think being a jet mechanic is hard, be a jet mechanic at night on an aircraft carrier where you can't have lights on. In the middle of the ocean, all you have is stars or the moon. And so you really learn how to use, the keen side of your eyes to change a fuel pump or a fuel filter with JP5 fuel, under pressure still, that's trying to shoot out, and hit you in the face. And
that'd be a really cool experience, though. Is there ever like a time where you just soaked it all in, just looking around like no?
I did what everybody would do. I went all the way up to the front of the boat and tried to lean out, and see the water and have the air hold you. We weren't going fast enough, but yeah.
I mean, like, there's no light pollution.
Nope, none, so, zero. You could stick your hand right there, and you don't know your own hand's there.
But the sky would have to look crazy.
Have you seen it with no light, no city lights? It's amazing. It's utterly amazing the amount of stars that are out there that you can't see because of the city lights. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it'd be cool to kind of take it in because it just has to be black.
Yeah,
all around you.
Yeah,
you probably can't even tell the difference between the horizon and the sky and the water.
Right. Yeah. No. It's just black, except for the smallest little teeny tiny light, and it's the umpteenth trillion one that you're looking at. I mean, it is literally amazing. And the watercolors, I'd never thought were going to be that different. One can be just your typical blue, kind of like the microphone. But then you get this deep, dark, rich blue all of a sudden. And it might last depending on where you are. And then it's almost like an aqua blue. And it's like the depth of the water or something. It changed. And the blues were amazing. I mean, so pretty. I don't even think they got names for those colors. But it's just like, holy shit. And then they talk about there's a glow from behind the aircraft carrier from the minerals of the metal mixing with the salt. And then the propellers churning it all up leaves this glow of wake. Yep, sure does. It's just it's a glow that the wake is leaving behind you. It's cool as shit. But you can see it during the day. You can see the water is kind of white. but at night it's just a glow. It's cool as shit.
Would be cool.
It was the boat. Being on board ship was a great experience though. That's something you only do once in a lifetime, and I've done it twice.
Did you ever get seasick, or was the boat too big to really feel that?
My first
I know
cruise,
you talked about like leaning forward, and that just kind of becomes part of your daily life, walking around.
Oh yeah,
all weird, but
walking up and down the flight deck or
Yeah.
something, carrying tools. You can watch people in front of you, and nobody walks a straight line. You literally are walking side to side with the rock of the boat. You know, so as it leans this way, you're walking this way, and then okay, coming back this way, but you don't feel it. It's too big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that seasick motion typically comes from like a smaller boat that you're really feeling the rock.
Yeah, when you were laying down in your rack, you could feel it because
Yeah,
then you could feel your skin. You know, you kind of move it in your skin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can kind of feel that. But we did. I can't remember what the name of it was. We went directly through a typhoon on board ship.
That'd be scary to look
We
at.
put as many of the airplanes down in the hangar bay, closed all the doors up, and the ones that wouldn't fit, we had to put, an extra 16 tie-down chains on it, and just hammering waves, and then all of our old, 1970s chairs that we had, had wheels on them, and we'd just pick our feet up, and we'd slide in our, in our office, and we'd just bash it into people, or the wall, or this or that.
That'd be scary to see a typhoon.
Then I got a little seasick, though, to be honest with you, because then the shit on the wall was moving. We were, and it was just like, okay, this is weird, yeah. So, but there's videos of big waves that come over, and then one of them is the Kitty Hawk, where the nose dove down and a wave just come right up over the top. And we're 30 foot in the air. The deck's 30 feet in the air, and the waves are coming over the top of it, and we're just plowing right through it. So, but it was pretty cool though. I do remember it.
You said 2 6-month rotations of that. Did you sign up for 3 years or 4 years?
4. Yeah. I did I took an early out. Like I said, my airplanes were old, so they were decommissioning my squadron. So I had the opportunity in April to either get out or get moved to a different squadron until the following January. Well, now my kids were, almost 4 years old. I was ready to get home, start a life. Wasn't tied down in any way, Sorry. So it was like it's just time to go home, You know that feeling.
Yeah.
So I actually did 3 years, 8 months or so. But I had a year and 10 months of sea time. So when they say join the Navy, you're gonna go around the world, and yeah, you're on the water and you're going.
So by the time you were 22, how many countries had you been to?
Well, went to Canada, 18 full nude at bars. I had to go to Canada. Hey, it's what you do. There's a story to this. I had the only car. Okay, so all the buddies I hung out with, one was from Florida, which your mom has met. Actually, you've met too, Dave Bertoncini. Hope he's listening. Who knows? Carlos Vargas. Oh, man. And one other person. I can't remember his name. I don't even remember who it was. Well, we all piled up in my car, and we drove to Canada. And we get to the border. And we've never been across the border before. We're all dumb. Where are you guys from? Well, I'm from Indiana. Oh, I'm from, wherever he was from, Carlos Vargas, Puerto Rico, or, there's a guy, we called him Kiwi. He was from New Zealand. I'm from New Zealand. The guy goes, no. Where are you coming from today? We're like, oh, Seattle. So we start shooting off
Like,
all
where the
these
fuck
states.
you guys pick all these guys up at?
Right. Because, we'd never been out of the country before. I had no idea what to do. Yeah, so we just, we went to, I think it was White Rock in Vancouver, British Columbia, and spent the night there and drove home, popping no-dos and making it back.
But like on your boat. On your boat.
Well, Canada, I've been to Mexico, Tijuana. I remember watching a Colts football game in Tijuana, getting shots of tequila and whistles blown and towels shaking on your head. So if you've ever been to Tijuana and had the shots, they know exactly what I'm talking about. And a lot of other stuff happened there. It's Mexico, right? No, so we left, and we did Hong Kong, which was for an 18-year-old never been out of the state of Indiana, it was pretty weird. You see all these foreign words that you don't have any idea what it says, but all of a sudden it goes McDonald's. Oh fuck, I know what that is. That's where I'm going. So, but it was cool to see that just a different culture of people. In Hong Kong, right across the waterway is Kowloon. I don't want to pronounce it right. I think it's Kowloon, and that's where all the shops seem to be. Where all the tourist shops would be when you think of tourist shops. Jewelry stores and watch stores and just music stores and video, like camera stores. Jeez Louise, there was thousands of them. And then I think we spent 3 or 4 days there.
You're like port hopping, aren't you?
Kind of. We have they knew where we were going, we didn't. So right. We're stopping by here. And then okay, we're gonna leave, and a week later we're gonna be stopping by here. So we kind of knew where the next place was gonna be, which then was Singapore. And forgive me for everybody who knows the difference, but Singapore and Hong Kong seem to be the same to me. It all seemed to be China to me. I don't know if that's still the case. I don't know where Singapore is exactly, but I'm pretty sure it's mainly in China. But I don't know.
Seeing all the Asian lettering and stuff.
Yeah. Which was a beautiful city, clean, nice people, beautiful buildings, and it looked like it was just nice, a really nice place. And we didn't dock there. We actually had to stay out in the bay a little bit. And then they brought us on these little teeny tiny puke boats. That's what we called them. Because every time you came back, you were puking all over them from the waves, drunk, So it's just, you were puking everywhere, And then, we spent a few days there. Then every time between ports, the boat really doesn't do a straight line. It's just weird. But after a while, you could see what we were doing. Okay, we're going to go this direction. Oh, time to launch airplanes. Let's take a left. So we start going left. Well, we're done launching. Let's go back to the right. So we're like zigzagging, and I never figured out how. But the boat would turn into the wind to get the extra wind over the bow to help the lift of the airplanes. Well, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But I had no idea. I'm like, we are literally just zigzagging across the Pacific Ocean. Why can't we just go straight there? We'll be there tomorrow. So those things are playing in your mind the whole time. But then it made more sense. And I was like, okay. And then we went from there, Hong Kong to Singapore. We went down past the equator, in between some couple little islands, and I can't remember where by the name, but I can kind of point it out on the map. But I thought, okay, we're over the equator. Now I'm a shellback is what they call it, where you've been on the other side of the equator. I don't know if the toilet's flushed backwards or not, because we're on a board ship. They just went, sucked all your shit out. And so I went to my rack, got my boot camp boots, which, I already had another pair that I wore all the time, and tied them together and walked out to the edge of the boat and threw them off in the middle of this ocean on the other side of the equator. And ploop, they're gone. But I thought, hey, I don't know if anybody's ever done that before, but I got a pair of boots in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, in between a couple islands, on the other side of the equator. Something different, It didn't mean nothing, but it was like, fuck, I'm on the other side of the equator. I'm gonna leave my mark. Here's my boots. I'm never wearing these things again, right?
And here you go. Now you're getting to tell that story.
Yeah, see,
do it for the stories.
But yeah, just every day training, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't care if it's Sunday, Saturday, raining, snowing. They don't care. You're working. And then I want to say it was the first cruise. I know the second cruise we did. The first cruise we went to the Persian Gulf, which is, I think it's called the Arabian Sea now. I'm not real sure. But it's Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq. It's the water that separates them all. And the Strait of Hormuz, which is that real small piece of water that goes in between the Indian Ocean and the Persian Gulf. So we went into the Persian Gulf to do the protect the no-fly zone after the Desert Shield war was technically over. So I missed some badges and awards because it was technically, in the government's mind, it was over, even though there was still a lot of shit going on. And so we did that, and literally you just went around in circles in that little bay area, or sea, or whatever they call it. And our planes would take off, Our planes would always go out in front of everybody and jam radars, which was the surface-to-air missiles that they would use. And then once we would lock on them, we'd spot them and jam the radar. Then we would shoot our own HARM missile down to it and blow up the site. Then here come all the cool airplanes that are, Mach 3, Mach 2.5. Can probably outrun a missile. But we got to send the ugliest, oldest looking plane in first, to jam it and blow it up, right?
You gotta have something to do.
So we just did that for a couple months. I mean, it seemed like a couple months. And then, we're heading home. So we turn around and start going east. And then, on the way back, we went to Singapore. Hey, been here, done that. Didn't know they even got off the boat. Hong Kong, been here, done that. Oh, well, we want to let you know that we're going to do a tiger cruise. And I'm like, what's a tiger cruise? And they're like, well, it's where you can bring one family member, male, on board ship from Hawaii to San Diego. I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. I'd love to have my dad out here. I didn't call and tell him. I didn't know if I want to go through that, but the experience of him seeing the airplanes and everything land, I thought would be pretty cool. But so, all of a sudden these, all these older men, their family, their sons were coming in, and, so it was pretty cool just to see civilians out there and seeing their look on their faces. It was like, is that what I look like my first day here? Young and old, smiling, and everybody else is all grumpy and shit 'cause they know what they're getting ready to go through, and so that was a pretty cool experience for me to see that. And then that loneliness hits you again, and I don't know if you had that or not. The loneliness, every now and then, it just hits you.
Yeah, I would just get tired of the people around me, and I would just want to be by myself, and then you just feel all isolated.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of that in the barracks too, but I wasn't a popular kid, But we pulled into San Diego, and they're playing over the stereo there on shore. The boys are back in town, right? All these women and children and, brothers and sisters, moms and dads are all on the dock as we're pulling in the aircraft carrier. The boys are back in town, This song just blaring over and over. People clapping, yelling, signs, love you, Dad. That's when it hits me. I am by myself. That's the stuff that, you don't think about the whole time you're out there doing it, but, man, it hits you all of a sudden. And I thought, man, I really should have seen that my dad wanted to come out to do the Tiger Cruise. Could have been something cool. But, that's one of those little things that stick with you, that for some reason it does.
So then for somebody who might be looking into that job, what would you say what was the daily routine like for you?
Literally it was an 8 to 4 job. We didn't, like you said, we don't have the training you guys had to do. We had to keep the airplanes running. So, I don't remember exactly. Every 4 days you had duty, so you may have to do a hangar bay watch or a flight line watch, for security every, 1 to 4 days. But on a typical day was you showed up at 7, you went to your little office and your shop, petty officer or first class petty officer or chief or whoever, hey, airplane 621, that was our numbers. 621 needs a, last night's sorties that they were practicing landing, they got fuel flow fluctuation. Okay, Brad, you and Tommy go over there and take care of that.
You're just hanging out until your plane needs something.
More or less, yeah. We had 4 planes that we had to take care of, and I think we had maybe 8 mechanics, but you had to split them up over 2 shifts on board ship, so there was only 2 or 3 of you per shift. So you do that, or hey, we're going to take aircraft 620 and we're going to do preventative maintenance on it. Brad, it's your turn. So, you go over there and they start taking body panels off, and all these hoses and clamps and stuff are on it. You know, can't have corrosion on it, can't have this on it. So you're literally taking a toothbrush and scrubbing off what, you know, is dirt and grime that you put on there last week to protect it. You're now scrubbing it off and putting it back on again.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
I fucking hated that. I'm telling you what, and nothing worse on board ship doing that for a 12-hour shift. You can only clean some of your hose clamps. You know?
Probably clean enough for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
By the time you're 20.
It was, you know, you got a wire brush. You know, it's almost like just a little brass wire brush because you don't want to scratch anything or cause a fire or a spark. So you're and you're only scrubbing on the top half of the hose clamp. You can't get on the bottom of it, right? So you put your finger down there and you go, oh, fuck, that's a mess. I ain't touching it. You know, I'll just stay right here on top, you know. And then you got a little vial of, you know, it reminds me of soldering flux. You know, and you may not know what that is, but it's just a brown liquid that kind of stays tacky. And a little, not even a very good paintbrush, but, you know, like a military quality piece of shit, cheapest bitter. Yeah, you know what I mean? And you're dipping it in there and you're wiping it across that grommet or that hose clamp. And then the petty officer comes up and, you know, how we doing? I'm done. No, come on, man. Can I just be done? You know? That was a day, you know. You went and you worked. You know, they told you what to do. You did you got your lunch, you did your work, 3 o'clock, you were gone. I mean, it was a job, more or less. You know, and hearing your stories, yours was a training job.
Well, it was like our day-to-day would just be typically like, I'd say 60 to 70% of the time we would just be sitting, waiting for details to come up. Usually the details would revolve around getting ready for our next training exercise. And then we'd go out and train for 2 weeks, a month, or whatever, and then come back, clean all of our shit, and then start over. Just details, getting ready for the next thing.
Right. Just
a lot of time it would just be sitting in the locker room on your phone, waiting, and then they'd call for 2 people to go do something.
Well, we didn't have phones.
So it was a day job.
Because I remember walking around in Hong Kong and Singapore looking for a phone to call home and go, Mom, I'm safe. You know.
So you just smoked a lot.
Yes, I did.
And listened to a lot of Metallica.
Right. What was it? Oh, it was. I got into the grunge because I was in Seattle, so still Metallica, but it was, you know, Pearl Jam, and couldn't stand Nirvana. But I just got into Alice in Chains, and so I went to sleep every night on board ship. I've told you this story. I bought a nice set of Pioneer headphones. You know, we didn't have the little earbuds; we had headphones, and you use it like a pillow to prop your head up. And I had a little portable CD player plugged in my rack, and I'd go to sleep every night and listen to Alice in Chains every night.
It's funny how
and I still don't know any words because they're so hard to understand.
It's funny though how music and passing the time is such a big deal for dudes in the military. Seems like everybody knows what bands they're listening to. What would you say your best and worst experiences were? It seems like I was going to ask you about your biggest regret too, but it seems like not having your dad come out was kind of a big deal. Maybe not your biggest regret, I guess.
Looking back at my biggest regret, not staying in.
Oh.
I mean, can you relate to that?
Yes and no, but
I guess my thought is if I would have stayed in, I could be in the same position I am right now and have a pension from there and be a higher ranking person, be more of a leader in the positions I'm in now, you know, so my life would be different if I would have stayed in.
I just reflect and think that I'm still heavily involved with the military and considering going back on active duty, but I'm still glad that I got out because I think at that time I needed to get out because I don't think I was an asset to anybody with my mindset that I had at that time.
Yeah.
I needed to get out. So I don't necessarily regret it. I regret not doing the Ranger Regiment thing. But then again, I also don't. I think that just, whenever I feel like I have something that's potentially a regret, I look at how I can learn from that experience, and then it turns it from a regret to something that I took a positive out of. So I don't necessarily regret anything.
Yeah, well,
I just learned a lot. I
don't have as deep a thinker as you.
I don't have many regrets, but I learned a lot of shit.
Yeah. I am glad I did it. And not a lot of people know
You wouldn't
this.
have met us if you stayed in.
That is true.
We
wouldn't be here right now.
Maybe we would have had a lot less stress if you would have stayed in.
No, just with Amanda. She was the brunt of all my anger. No, she was a good kid.
So what would you say your best and worst experiences were?
Just the experience. It took me from that I'm right attitude kid who would fight you tooth and nail. Not punching, but I would stand up, yell at you, cuss at you. I don't know how many times I almost got kicked out of school for, cussing up a teacher. I did get kicked out every year for smoking. But, I got held back in the 4th grade. So here I am, 18, I can vote, and I'm a senior in high school, and I can't smoke, but the teacher could? Man, that didn't sit good with me. Did not sit good at all. But it took me from that immature kid to a little more mature, a little more polite, respect elders.
I don't know. More. I was around in your mid-20s. You're still quite an angry person.
Yeah. But yeah, could you imagine me a little bit earlier?
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at McDonald's and I wanted to throw fries at people and shit because they weren't enough in the bag or something. So I mean, but no, it changed me. You can ask, Dad. It changed me. I was more polite. Yes sir, no sir, and you did the same thing. And you come back saying the F word more than I did. You used to make fun of me, because everything was motherfucker, fuck this, and fuck that, and you did the same thing. This is the first weekend out of boot camp you did it. So it's the same in ways, but it just changed me to it made me look at life differently, I guess. And I'm a firm believer now of what it did for me and how I am as a person now, that if these 18-year-old kids had to go do it for at least 2 years, the world wouldn't be as bad as it is. They wouldn't be, oh, me. It'd be, what can I do for you? What can I do for you?
Yeah, I thought, I wouldn't want to necessarily force people to go into the service, because the service isn't for everybody, but you should have to go do at least a year or 2 year of something that doesn't revolve around you, like serving community or country, or go to the freaking Peace Corps or something. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a troublemaker. I didn't get in trouble with the law or nothing like that. I just stood my ground, but it made me a different person.
Yeah, I think it would just develop you. It'd be good for you as a person. I don't think it's going to be bad for anybody.
And men don't mature early anyway. I mean, we just don't. But that helped me mature and understand my actions more. You can't just mouth off at people, like they do now. You just can't do that.
Yeah. So then 4 years goes by. You get out, come back to Anderson, Indiana.
April 2nd, 1995.
So what was that? What was that transition like as somebody who, you're 22, Anderson's basically full of a bunch of people that have never left Anderson, and they're I'm not saying everybody in Anderson's a loser, but most people in Anderson live here because they couldn't get out of Anderson.
Yeah.
So to come back here after having traveled the world and stuff and seen stuff that most of, if not all of your friends from high school hadn't experienced, what was that like to come back? And
it was I don't know any big words just to use for it. It didn't seem real at first, and you can probably relate to that.
It seems like,
because your job and living in the barracks, you still had all your freedom, but it was just different. It was like, do I have to shave today? Just the dumbest little things. Yeah. Do I gotta have matching socks on today? I mean, it was just weird. It was weird.
Mm-hmm. The freedom's weird.
Yeah, it felt weird to have freedom. Right. It's not like you're not free while you're doing all this, but it's like you're not responsible to anyone.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm going to screw it all up because I don't listen to you when you talk. Your team leader, you know, who's looking after you 24 hours a day, you're showing him respect and trying to stay out of trouble. And now you're at home and you're going, hey, he's not there, you know. So it's just that weird transition.
It's all on you.
Yeah.
I also had heard some interesting perspective on transitioning, especially when you go straight in from high school or straight out of high school.
Mine was 6 months.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you ever thought about it like this, but when you come out, no matter how many years you've been in the military, when you come out, if you went in straight out of high school, you might have, this is like a humbling thought for me, you know, having been around the world. You know, I'd been to Afghanistan and I've traveled, I've tried out for these units, and then you get out and it's like, I feel so much farther ahead than everybody experience wise, but I've never been an adult in the civilian world before.
Yeah.
And I don't know how shit works.
Right. You know, I'm living with my parents again. Yeah. You know, I've been around the world by myself. Yeah. And now I'm living in my dad's, you know, bedroom.
Yeah. So you feel like you're hot shit because you've done all this stuff and nobody else has.
And you know nothing.
Then, yeah.
You don't know how to write a check. You know, you don't know how to pay a bill. But, yeah, I mean, it was so bad in school. Yeah, we had to teach us how to type. You know, not like with your thumb, like real typing. Yeah. But you know, I like I said, I'm not as deep a thinker as you. So when I got out, I got home. You know, I think I spent a week or two maybe of just chilling. You know, what I want to do. Dad's all over you. You know, hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know, and a real good family friend of mine got me a job. You know, with his business mowing. You know, so I'd get up and mow, and then I went and, you know, started becoming an electrician and got that job by myself and was just a grunt, you know, but got to learn how to work with people, you know, in a different type of setting, you know, and just went from that to doing 2 jobs, you know, do that and then mow and then, you know, it's weird how life takes you down certain paths, but it's always revolved around me working hard. Always.
Say, another weird part about transitioning, this is something that I came to grips with. It was like whenever I was out or on leave, right? I don't know when your leave times fell on.
I took 1 leave and that was it.
Well, so like typically when you take leave, it was kind of a special occasion for people at home.
Yeah.
They'd take off work or for me, it'd be around the winter time, so everybody's off work for Christmas and New Year's anyways. My buddies are out of college or whatever. And then during the summer, all my friends are on summer break. And that was really the only 2 times I would take leave was every 6 months. Mm-hmm. And everybody was off or out of school or whatever. So it was like I got to spend time with everybody. And then you get out of the military totally. Everybody knows that you're home permanently now.
Yeah, they come say hi and it's all happy, funny, you know, and welcome home.
So I was like, you know, I had a month of terminal leave where I was still going to get a paycheck from the military. Mm. And I was like, I'm going to take 2 weeks and then I'll start looking for a job. And it was like day 2 and everybody just had to go back to work.
Right. You're all alone again.
Yeah. Like they're not stopping to hang out with you anymore. It's not a special occasion. And
I didn't have a lot of friends, so I didn't have that problem.
Well, it's just like, well, shit, I'm bored. Like, I'm used to doing stuff. Yeah. And when I'm home, I'm used to having people to go hang out with. And then it's like, everybody's got to go to work. Yeah. World doesn't stop for you anymore.
You're all done. You're not special anymore.
Not a special occasion anymore. Nobody cares anymore. Time to go get a job.
Yeah. I mean, it was like that, though, when you come to see us. We tried to spend as much time with you, but once you got out, it was like, hey, welcome home, bud. Yeah. You're on your own.
Right. Go get a job. Yeah. So what you'd already talked a little bit about your first few jobs. How long was it before you met Mom? Because I don't really know like what age you were and what age you met Mom at or whatever, but
you were born
94.
Yeah, I know when you were born. Yeah. Well, I got out in 95, so I hadn't met your mom yet.
Right.
I haven't met your mom yet.
Right.
I was an electrician for a company here in Indianapolis, and I got put over to Ohio. So I lived in a hotel during the week and drove home on the weekends. Got tired of that. It's funny because I know when I was over there was some snow flurries. There was also the World Series because I remember laying in a hotel room watching the World Series. So there's that timeline again, right?
Things.
Little things, yeah. And my stepmom Karen, she pulled some favors and got me a job at City Hall as maintenance. City Hall maintenance, great. I'm a maintenance kind of guy. I'm a jet engine mechanic. Fuck, I can change a light bulb. That's not what it was.
You're like a janitor or something?
It was a janitor. Housekeeping. But it was in the maintenance department.
But it was City Hall. Did you get benefits?
Not great benefits. So, here I am.
City employee.
Right. So here I am. I'm 95, 23 years old. I got a grunge haircut, shaved on the side, bangs to my chin. I could pull it back into a ponytail, right? 5 earrings, necklaces, okay?
Like
just
rebellion maxed out.
Yeah, I'm getting out in 6 months. I'm growing my hair out, I'm just going to keep the sides trimmed or... Oh, you come on base, you got to take your earrings out. No, we didn't, But, so, but 5 earrings, I was a mess, I was just trying to just let myself out, I guess. I don't know. Or feel cool. I don't know. Your mom didn't like it. She tells me that now, but I think she's lying. So, I get to work at 3. City Hall closes at 4, so all the employees are leaving. Well, hey, look at her. I wonder where the hell she work? What floor she work on? So every day I'd start to come in and I would start to linger around because you can't do a lot between 3 and 4 because everybody's still working. I got to go clean their coffee cup or their computer screen or take out their trash or clean their doorknob. Shitty job. So I'd go start talking to people, knowing people. Hey, wait, what's your name? What do you do here? Oh, that looks like a great fucking boring job. And then you just didn't go to the 5th floor, because that's where the mayor was. That's where all the people who could hire and fire you. Well, I slowly started working my way up the floors, and there sits your mom at the mayor's secretary's desk. Nice brunette hair, pretty, great big red glasses.
You started dating the janitor?
No. Well, that was the first time I met her.
No, that's when we first met.
Yeah.
I was married to your dad still.
So she was working. Yeah, she was working, and I got off the elevator, and there she was. So, just hi, friendly, that kind of stuff. It was nothing. And then I was there a year, and then I got moved. I applied for a traffic signal job, and I got moved out of City Hall, 7 to 3 instead of 3 to 12 or 3 to 11. But I got to know a lot of people up there, so it woke me up as a person. I could talk better to people, strangers, that kind of thing, because I've always been kind of, huddled in, I guess, shy or whatever. And, had our own girlfriends, doing whatever. Your mom was married and, to your dad, and we never really, after 1 or 2 occasions of saying hi in her office, that was it. And then we went to a wedding, and there sat your mom and you and your sister, and I walked in, and it was just like, oh, I know you. And, boy, that just changed everything. Just from that point on. I mean, the first time I met you, it was, 99? 99? So you were 5? You're stacking, you're stacking sugar cubes.
He was 4.
Yeah,
out of the sugar bowl.
Yeah, I should have got the hint that I had some
Yeah.
ADD problems early on.
Oh, hey, she's cute. Well, your fucking son is messed up. I'm gonna go get a drink.
If I'm gonna try and talk to this girl with these kind of kids, I'm gonna have to have a few drinks first.
Yeah, played pool with your sister. Danced with your mom. Yeah, and then life led us to be together. But yeah, it was just kind of weird. Didn't even know her name really. I don't think. But, life's been good for me, Military was good for me. I don't regret any of it, I guess you could say.
I mean, I just think it's a good thing to set someone up, especially in that delicate time, like that age range, right out of high school, 18. Yeah. I don't know about you. I had no idea what I was gonna do.
No, I didn't either.
So,
I didn't know what I was good at. I didn't know what I could do. And I've always, like I said, I've always been a tinker. I'm not really a mechanical, engineering type of guy. But, I've since been an electrician. I'm a decent carpenter. I'm a, pretty good mechanic. It's just, that's kind of it was my nature.
yeah, I mean,
And I was a tool machinist in high school, at the vocational school.
yeah, knowing what you are into now, it kind of makes sense. Know that you're a mechanic in the Navy.
Yeah.
It's not surprising.
No, yeah, because it's just me, You saying it. Working on your bikes or building your shelf in your bedroom or, learning how to throw plates of spaghetti on the wall because your sister.
Breaking remotes.
We all have our moments.
I think you had a few more of them than most people do.
Love your sister, but man, I tell you what.
It took a while.
She can't watch this either.
I was a good kid.
No, we're not going to talk about you.
Well, so
I just hope my experiences of, me being in the service, making the service who I am, brought core values to your life. That's all a parent really wishes anyway. Can I give him my best assets that I have learned? And, you use them your way. And you did, stay out of trouble. If Brad's going to get mad because I do this and, spank me or ground me or, throw my CD or my toy out the window while we're driving, I probably shouldn't do that again.
Those are all things that happen.
It's abrasive, but, hey, it proves a point real fast. That's just kind of how it's always been with me.
Yeah, pretty much every time I ever got in trouble was because of Amanda.
Stop.
Pretty much. She'll laugh. She'll laugh when she listens to this. It'll be all right. Well, so let's say 10 years from now, Paxton's in high school or something, or even 30 years from now, and your great grandkids or whatever are listening to this. What would you tell them if maybe they're interested in the military, knowing that you're not necessarily as military focused now? Like, you guys were the laid back parents out of my two sets of parents, and it doesn't seem to define you as much.
Right. I was in, but I was in for a different reason. I was more in towards help support Brooke and Jess, with their mom. Yeah. It wasn't, hey, I want to go do this. It was, man, I got to do something different.
Yeah. And then it just provided all those good experiences on top of
it. Yeah.
So what would you tell them if they were maybe interested in the military, well, Navy, but military as a whole?
I would give it my full effort to, explain to them what type of person they could be in the future. What it's going to make you as a man or a woman. You're going to be, it's going to make you accountable, reliable, mature. It's going to make you, a leader. I mean, you couldn't do dishes, right? but you can lead a team. You can lead a team now because of what the Army has taught you. So, if it could help me and it helped you, it can help everyone, especially my grandkids or my great-grandkids.
Yeah.
So
I just don't think that there's anything, like, as far as developing you as a person, it's not going to hurt anything.
No.
It is only going to help.
It gives you nothing but good values, because there's other people in their life experiences that have so much more influence on you than what your parents do. You don't want to listen to your parents. You don't want to listen to your sisters, your moms, your dads. But you'll listen to that team leader, sergeant, who you respect because your life is in his hands and his and yours. And you said you have that different bond, and I don't know, it gives you that more accountability. I don't want to let him down. Well, I didn't want to let my dad down. Me letting my dad down was the worst thing ever. That's just how I felt as a kid. Was it to make my dad proud? He was proud of me no matter what I did, I'm sure. But there were moments where I'm sure he was just like me and couldn't stand me, But did I make him proud of everything that he taught me, that I've taught you, and I've taught your brothers and sisters? And yeah, and that's what the military, I think, can help with. My dad was there every day, but it's not that I could see the path that I was going to go down. Maybe he could, but this was the best thing that ever happened for me, was to go in. And I don't regret it. Like I said, the only thing I regret was getting out. It's just looking back, I should have just maybe done the reserve or something, something to stay in and receive the benefits now, as a 48-year-old, male. Now I could really use that, Yeah. So.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say they regret going in, but I hear a lot of people say they regret not going in.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have that regret because I went in.
Well, that's just my point.
Yeah.
If they're thinking about going in,
yeah.
these future people,
yeah.
then nobody's ever told me that they regret going in. They always say they regret not going in.
Oh, yeah.
Never talked to somebody that says like, yeah, I should have done it. I thought about it when I was in high school, but I ended up not doing it. I wish I would have done it. I hear that all the time.
They're probably doing nothing in their life right now.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of that.
Not necessarily nothing, but it could be more.
Yeah,
yeah, it really could
heard
be more.
Heard a lot of that. Never heard anybody say they regret it, and I think like you said, the values and the experiences and the friendships that you gain are just.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything negative about it that's going to overall affect your life.
Yeah. And and being in the Navy, and it's probably different for the Air Force. It's probably more like the Marines, you and the Marines, and us in the Air Force. People say, "Oh, you're just like
jobs versus more combat focused jobs."
Yeah. The combat focused jobs, you guys are more reliant on each other. The technical jobs, my job is to fix an airplane. If I mess up, the plane could stall an engine, crash, but it's not an every day, every second life decision that you guys have, So those close friends that you have, I don't have, because we didn't have that, hey, we're laying in a ditch in the middle of the desert, cuddle with me because I'm cold type of bond.
Yeah. I've cuddled some dudes.
I didn't have that,
Well,
so
the
but
deepest...
yeah, you now have these lifelong friends that you're going to talk to all the time. I don't have that.
Well, the deepest bonds are formed in times of shared misery and shared suffering. Yeah. But if you don't have a lot of times of shared suffering with people,
my only suffering was trying to run that 1.5 miles every year, once a year.
Get right across the finish line.
13.5 minutes.
Get right across the finish line, pull a cigarette out.
I smoked while I was walking the course. So I ain't gonna lie
while
to
you
you.
were walking it. Hey, so
13 minutes and I start running. Yeah, 13:30. I made it. Hey, good till next year. Hey, I didn't apply myself. I was a great mechanic, I think, in my eyes. Being a jet engine mechanic, there's a lot going on. Okay, but I was a good mechanic, and I'm good at all the stuff that I do. That's why you call me for help. That's why your sister calls me for help. That's why my dad calls me for help now. My brother calls me. I am good at that, but I did not, and I have not ever fully applied my abilities to anything. I have never just gone all out at a job to say, I'm going to read as much as I can. I'm going to do as much as I can. I'm going to learn. I've never done that. I've just, I'm really good at this. I need a little bit of help over there, but man, I am really good at this over here. So it's just the natural part I've just stuck with, and the job I'm in now, I think I'm going to have to really push myself to try to be that better person than what I've ever had to do before.
Well, that'll be good. Might develop you even more as a person, even though you're closing in on 50.
I might be a nice guy by 50. I don't know.
That'll be funny. Well, I don't know. Do you have any closing thoughts? I guess.
I'm glad my life has turned out the way it has. I'm glad I got to meet your mom. I'm glad I got to meet you. and your sister. I'm glad you guys have got to really know Brooke and Jess, especially your sister. I had a great time in the service. I don't regret not going. I don't regret going. I don't regret doing the job I did. I enjoyed a lot of the days. You always had that one bad day here and there, but it's been good. Real good. I don't know where I'd be if I wouldn't have went in, to be honest with you. I don't know what I'd be doing right now.
That's fair.
Yeah. I couldn't even guess what I'd be doing right now. I wouldn't be in trouble or nothing like that, but what would I really be doing with my life? No clue. Would I be, an electrician? Would I be working in the city like I did? I have no clue. I would probably just kind of mosey through life. Well, I'm not super motivated, you know that.
That's fine.
It's just, what would I do? I don't know. So, I could say that the going to the military was the best thing for me.
It's funny because I remember the first time anybody ever told me that I would go into the military. And you were probably totally joking because you realized how much I couldn't focus on anything at the time. Uh-huh. I think I was like 6 or something, 6 or 7. I don't know when you came around, what age I was, but I remember being out on the lakes and you telling me that I was going to go into the military. And then to me, in my little 7-year-old brain, thought that going into the military meant that I was probably going to die. I remember telling you that I wasn't going to do that. I even remember Misty saying, you tell him, Cole. She probably doesn't remember that, but
man, I don't remember it.
That stands out to me sitting on Papa Will's pontoon and that interaction happening. Mm-hmm. It's just funny. I don't you never really came down with a sternness that resembled that of a military guy.
Right. Yeah.
It was kind of your own style of parenting, but it's just funny that I think you were actually the first person that told me I was going to do that.
Really, I don't remember that.
And yeah, well, that stands out to me. But
well, thanks.
It's funny
you
that
can blame me for all your misery and all your cuddling with your buddies.
Yeah, cuddle with too many dudes.
Yeah, too much spooning.
But yeah, it's just funny that.
Well, that's good.
Even though you never really had that military household, the way that you ran things, you're still the first person that told me that. And even though at the time I told you I wasn't going to do that, now it's the thing that I'm most passionate about. And
well, I remember in Florida, I told your mom after a few of the things, I was he's going. Prepare yourself, he's going. So I knew you were going before you said you were going.
I was pretty back and forth there for a while, especially when I went to Tampa.
But I knew. Yeah, I knew.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just ended up being my thing.
Man, look what's done for you. You took 3 hours to wash one dish. Now you can talk up and down about a gun. You can walk a straight line. Hey.
I still eat slow though.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
That's all right. It's when I don't have to eat fast. I like to enjoy my food. That's all it is. But
you're a good son.
Yeah. Well, I think that I was around you and Mom more than I was Dad and Samantha, and I think
you got a lot of influence from all 4 of us. So yeah, you really do.
I think I got the perfect blend of all of it because I think I'm basically turning into Dad, is what I'm realizing. As Dad's getting more laid back and carefree with age, I guess. I don't know. As he's getting more laid back, I'm turning into the guy that he was. But the kind of parent that I want to be is going to be hints of his kind of sternness, but really the level of laid back and being just more understanding, not being so much because I said so kind of parenting.
Black and white.
Yeah.
I get that all the time.
The family meetings and stuff like that. That stuff I would like to implement that in my parenting style. So, that's my kind
of... I yell, but here's your options. Do what you want. You screw up, then you got to come home and face the consequences. I told you guys no a lot just because I didn't want to be bothered. I'm not going to lie. Just leave me alone. It's been a long day. You know, hey Brad, can I go ride my bike? No, just go downstairs. I don't have to worry about you out riding your bike. Did he tie his fucking shoe, or is it wrapped around the shoe pedal? You know, the pedal. And did he crash? Because then I gotta go fucking pick him up, take him to the hospital. No, Cole, just go to your room. You know.
Well, for what it's
So
worth,
there you go.
for what it's worth, that was my roundabout way of saying that. I'm glad that I had you as a parent, and especially you and Mom's combination of parenting styles.
Well,
I
thank
think I'm pretty grateful for how I turned out as a person. I think it turned
You're
out
a
pretty
good kid.
So
Yeah, we're proud of you.
yeah, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being on
Yeah,
episode 3 of the podcast.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Episode 3, huh?
This is the most we've ever talked about this stuff. So yeah,
Like I said, it wasn't, I went for a different reason. You went for the joy, I think. More.
I was more interested in the like action-packed,
Yeah.
exciting stuff.
I was at a point where I didn't know what I was going to do. But I got babies. I got to do something. So. No, I'm glad we were able to do it. I know you wanted to, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
And I'm number 3 on your list.
Yeah.
I know that now.
Well, Dad was going to be number 1, and then he got bumped to the side too. So
Just because you're spooning, buddy.
yeah, got it.
Love you, Caleb.
Yeah, everybody does. I think he's everyone's favorite. Even I get bumped to the side for Caleb nowadays. All right. Well, it was fun.
Good.
Glad we did it.
Signing off.
Right on.